Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And do you feel more comfortable with the regular intro this week?
Sure.
Because last week we were like, oh, what was that? What do you mean, hey, gang? What's hey, gang? And you know what?
Hey,
it was
everyone.
fun. That's what it was. It was a good time.
Big fan.
With you. Hey, guys, I hear you got a podcast. Anyway, all right. This week we are talking about the passing of Robert Carradine from Revenge of the Nerds and many, many, many other things. I'm looking at all these movies he was in. He still has 3 movies that he was in that were in pre-production. So
I don't know the last time I saw him in something.
yeah. Oh crap! He was in Supercross the movie. I forgot all about that. Anyway, he played Lewis in Revenge of the Nerds. If you do remember, that's probably what he's best known for. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
So, man, he was on a lot of TV too. Doomsday. Interesting. All right, so we'll get to that. We're also talking about the season 1 finale of Knights of the Silent Kingdom. Did you know it's already in pre-production for season 2?
Yes, they're actually almost close to finishing shooting from what I last read.
Which is great. Then we're going to give
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was about to say from what I last read about 2 hours ago.
Okay. So
it's not like I knew that for a while.
It's changed. They probably finished shooting in that time. So then we're going to talk about just the season as a whole, as we always do, and then give our funny ratings and reviews. Anyway, Darryl, how are you?
I'm doing. Have you? Well, at least we're not the Northeast and East Coast. That's all I know. Even though there was a modicum of a snowstorm this morning, and now it's sunny and 50 out. So
yeah, I mean we got a nice little morning going on here. So I guess it's not morning anymore. It's mid afternoon. But yeah, things are good. Things are warm. I wore shorts out of the gym and didn't regret it. So
yeah, it's like that outside right now.
Dude, my schedule today is all messed up. So we're recording. It's almost 3 p.m. Eastern time. I had a meeting at 8 a.m. today, and then I didn't get to the gym until like 10, and then I didn't leave the gym until like a little afternoon. So it's like, what's happening here? Like, I don't even know what time it is. I don't know how to feel. I came home and ate, and then now we're doing this. It's like, what is life? I feel like David after dentist. Is this real life?
No. I was just going to say, crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
Okay. I don't know where that's from.
That's what's best in life.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
You shared this video with me of this game that's coming out called Godslayer.
Avatar. Without the
license.
It's
called The Godslayer. Yeah, it's license free Avatar. I mean, I feel like Brian and Mike have like some suing to do. Let's like get an injunction on this game, fellas. Like one is it looks better because it's the gameplay. It looks better than any Avatar game they've put out yet.
Yes, true.
And 2, like, when are we gonna get the Godslayer Magic the Gathering? Because I feel like let's just go. But it looks really cool. I actually sent it to Haley, and I was like, "We have to buy this game." So yeah, so I'm in the Nerd Den Studio 3.0 now. We're like I told Darryl earlier, we're in a fully functioning battle station. But I this time in one of the boxes that I have on the wall to show off the toys, it goes Zuko, Aang, then Korra. And Haley's like, you should put Korra in the middle because she's the bridge between the two of them. And I was like, no, Zuko is the small one, Aang's the medium one, and Korra's the big statue.
I mean, there we go.
Yeah, it's like, trust me, this is just a much better aesthetic. If I were to put Korra in the middle, then it would drive me insane. Anyway, so yeah.
A funny story about Avatar, or actually Korra, is I went to my chiropractor last week, and they have stuff on the TV, and it was Korra. I was like, nice. How do y'all? They have random stuff usually. I'm like, okay, this is Korra. What is this doing on here?
Did they have like just Netflix playing?
I don't know what it was actually that was playing, but I just thought that was pretty funny since also I still need to watch Korra.
You do. It's like, I mean, the first season's great. The second season ends great. The third season might be the best of any Avatar. It's up there for sure. And then the fourth season was really interesting, and it has its controversial ending that I don't really care about. So, I mean, I like the ending. I don't care about the controversy.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. Well, do you want to just hop right into it?
Let's do this.
All right. R.I.P. Robert Carradine. I mean, like, what is this? Like,
Nerd.
Is this number like 5?
Oh, it's
Like they like the Hollywood actors are just dropping.
yeah. It was Tim Noon. What's his name? Tim. Not I almost said Noon, but Noonan or whatever his name was. Robert Duvall, Catherine O'Hara. But that was what 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was.
And I know there was, and there was somebody
James
else. Vanderbeek.
So the Dawson himself. But yeah, I mean, like it's just like it seems like like it's always like in threes. So like, do we have another one coming right away? Like, is he number 5? Is he number 1 of a new cycle? What's happening? Final Destination? What did these actors do to like change something? So
That's ridiculous. I was just about to say a Final Destination thing when you said that.
Well,
the cycle.
I'm obviously much wittier and faster than you on the draw. So
no, I just let you talk.
That's true too. Anyway, but yeah, okay. So Robert Carradine has like dozens of roles. I was looking at his filmography.
Oh,
right?
Eric Dane was the other one.
Oh yeah, Eric Dane. How can we forget Eric Dane? So he's number 6. Jeez. So now we're gonna enter a new cycle. But yeah, no. Robert Carradine, like we're talking movies. He started acting in 1971. He was in a movie called The Cowboys as Slim Honeycutt when he was in his he was 20. He wasn't quite. No, he was 18. He wasn't even 20 yet because he was born in 1954. Then he was in Mean Streets. Just like, and these are all like bit roles, right? He was in a movie called Revenge of the Cheerleaders as student in the cafe, uncredited. And I think his breakout role was probably Revenge of the Nerds.
I think it almost has to be.
So in 1984. So I mean,
yeah.
And then we go on to Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise in 87, and then all the way in 1992 we have Revenge of the Nerds 3, the Next Generation. But then he was in the horror movie The Tommyknockers. Do you remember that one?
I remember that, yes.
I really like that. And then we had Revenge of the Nerds 4, Nerds in Love. I do think it's funny, though, because we can't, like the first Revenge of the Nerds movie is, like, very, like, quote, problematic today.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of horror. Like, he was on the...
stuff.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just about to say a lot
of stuff. Yeah. He was on Lizzie McGuire.
I mean, Lizzie McGuire movie, yeah. And Lizzie McGuire. Like, a lot of stuff from the past is problematic now. That means nothing.
He was in Django. That's problematic.
Yeah.
But, okay. So he's in one of my guilty pleasure movies. It's called Supercross the movie. Have you ever seen it?
No. Well, you said that, and I drew a blank. I don't know what that is.
So it's got Steve Howie, Mike Vogel, and Sophia Bush, and then Channing Tatum is in it. But it's the story of Casey and Tripp, their brothers who like compete in Supercross, and like they're like just poor, it's like Rad kinda, but like with motorcycles, and Casey is the guy. He's on the show High Potential on ABC right now, by the way. He's been in a lot of stuff. But
okay.
He just they're like the best, but they don't have a factory ride and they're trying to get their factory ride. I don't know. Is it a good movie? No. Is it fun to watch? Yes. Is it crazy to see a young Channing Tatum in things like this because it was from 2005? Absolutely. Is a good movie, like I said, no. But I forgot that Robert Carradine was in that. as Channing Tatum's dad. So
Oh, he was also in Ghosts of Mars
yep.
too
Oh yeah.
in 2001.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, anytime I think of him, the first and last movie that comes into mind is
Oh yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Right.
That's one of those things that probably shouldn't have been watching at the time when I was
No, we
a
were
kid. But
we were like 7 when that came out.
yeah, I mean, I didn't watch. Obviously, I watched it in the '80s, so I was
Yeah,
still
yeah. I mean, we
probably
watched it like probably like 88 is I think when I saw it for the first
probably
time.
yeah.
So
The second one, I did watch that as well, and that's kind of it. I didn't
yeah.
watch it. I didn't watch the 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, the first movie. I will always think about him in that movie. And kind of when you when I saw that he passed, I was thinking, man, I kind of want to watch Revenge of the Nerds now.
Right.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
in like
I know.
30
It was like I think I might introduce Haley to Revenge of the Nerds. So, but anyway, yeah. R.I.P. Robert Carradine. You know, thanks for all the entertainment, man. You were that was good.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, and kind of on that note, when we were just mentioning other ones, yeah, the one sad passing was one of the real sad ones was Eric Dane because he was only 53.
Yeah.
Eric Dane.
Did we not talk about Eric Dane last week?
I don't. Maybe like, touched upon it, but I didn't know he was diagnosed.
Touch upon it. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
So
I was just about to say I didn't even know he was diagnosed with ALS last year, but because I usually don't keep up with Hollywood and stuff like that.
If you definitely want to have like a moment where it gets dusty in your house, like Netflix has his like last interview and the last words to his daughters and stuff, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
I watched it at 2 times speed, and he sounded normal then because I just couldn't. I couldn't. Like,
I can't.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
gonna
why
make
I
it
didn't
through like with
Right.
all that because I was like, oh my god, this is just the saddest thing ever. I mean, he's
Right.
like, you know, I mean, just a couple years ago, like he's in. What's it called? Euphoria. You know, he was in The Last Ship. If you've never watched The Last Ship, that is a great show. Well worth watching.
Everybody, a lot of people know him from obviously, Grey's Anatomy, but I really loved him in The Last Ship. That's one of those shows I need to go back and rewatch because I really enjoyed that series.
You know what you should do is you should pretend like it's Sunday night on TNT and watch an episode of Falling Skies and then The Last Ship and then wait a week and then do the same thing again.
Dude, that's
or just do it every day. Just like, oh, I'm going to watch this and then this, and then I'm going to wait a day and then I'll watch this and then this.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that because I got the Blu-ray collection for Supernatural.
Nice.
So I might start doing that once a week and I'll be done with by 2030 or something like that.
Yeah, 2283 something. I don't know. There's like 4 billion seasons, except for there were only 5 seasons in a 20-year retrospective.
No, too late. You already said it.
You know what? You know what premiered 5 years ago this week?
What's that?
Superman and Lois.
Oh, I did see somebody said that the other day.
Soups and Lolo.
Oh God,
dude, we should be in season 8 of that show right now.
Yeah. Thanks. My mom made it for me.
Fuck you, James Gunn. Fuck you.
Yeah. I love that. My mom made it for me.
My mom made it for me. Anyway. All right. Let's talk about The Morrow.
The Morrow.
The last episode of A Knights
of
the Old
I didn't
Kingdoms.
even know. Do you know how many times when I've watched the behind the scenes of some of these shows on HBO, like doing this show as well as True Detective, and then like with True Detective, they'll say the name of the episode. I'm thinking, oh, I didn't even know that was the name of the episode.
Right.
So I didn't realize Tomorrow was the name of the episode.
Yeah, I mean it's like, the day after everything that happened, and we go from there. Anyway, man, what a good finale. It's back to the way D&D started doing Game of Thrones. We had the prologue with the first episode of him meeting Egg and kind of setting things up. And then the real finale was like episode 5 with the what was it called? In the Name of the Mother. And then this was the epilogue. This was like the end of the book. And I love when they do that. This is the perfect way to tell a Game of Thrones universe story.
Yeah, I really like that. And it's very unique in the sense of most shows do the opposite in the sense of that last episode is that action-packed cliffhanger or what
Hmm.
have you. And since Game of Thrones has been doing it this way, I really like that, that is this universe's way of creating. Because again, like you said, it's very similar to fantasy novels and how they're written. Most fantasy novels have a prologue, then you have the story, and then you have an epilogue.
Hmm.
So in that genre, that is a perfect way to do it. And again, like that epilogue is tying things up, but also is, especially if it's a continuing series, it's kind of like the lead in to what's going to happen next in the story.
Right.
So I really liked how this was that for that we see that they're going to keep this up with Night of the Seven or Nine Kingdoms.
Right. There's nine kingdoms, sir. Um, just the beginning of the episode started off so interesting. Dunk is recovering by the tree. The laughing storm is sitting there with him, and the maester's like, "I've done all that I can do for him. He's going to die," and he's like,
Yeah.
"You
Also,
go. You can't.
also
You what?
yeah, I never would have thought that I was in my fantasy show. I was going to get some jazz music,
Right,
but it
right.
absolutely
But here we
works.
got it and word.
Yeah,
I loved it. He's like, "Fuck off, witch."
yeah,
And then Donk is all like disheartened about what happened to Balon, Baylor, and just what Lionel, like his little rant there at the beginning of the show, it sums up like all of the royalty and the history of the Game of Thrones universe. Like nothing that they do costs them anything because it's other people's lives that are on the line. And in this case, like Baylor, like he said, he's like it cost him nothing. Three of the men he was fighting were Kingsguard, who were sworn never to harm him. And yeah, it was like fuck yeah, let's go. Let's go, Laughing Storm. And then he invites Dunk back to Storm's Inn because he wants him to become a house knight.
yeah.
And I was listening to a thing about the books and about how Lionel had like he was fed up with the Targaryens like everybody else seems to always be, and had eyes for, maybe pulling a Lionel's rebellion instead of a Robert's rebellion and in like trying to take the throne with the help of Duncan. But Duncan is 100%, you know, the Targaryen's man.
Yeah, I will say I did have a little issue. And while I see where Lionel is coming from, and also, you see his blind spot,
Right.
anyone that stands up for something, regardless of if, yes, he was going against people that were, charged not to harm him. But guess what? He still died because he put himself in that situation.
Yeah.
So while I understand where Lionel is coming from, it's not as clear cut as he's trying to make it, and it's showing his blind spot towards the Targaryens, like a lot of people, and let's be honest, understandably so as well. So it's I do like things like this where you see a character's point of view where in the sense of, well, he does have a point, but at the same time he's not getting the whole picture because of his
Yeah.
prejudices.
Right. And the other thing too is like Maekar very easily could have just killed Lionel instead of killing Baelor.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that kind of goes towards like this is the thing that like will haunt Maegor forever because he's gonna be considered to have committed fratricide, and they're gonna be like, oh, he killed the man who should be king, and now we have to compare
Right.
everything he does. Um,
I That
go.
was a great scene,
It
by the way,
was,
with between him and
yeah.
Dunk.
Oh yeah. So the scene with Duncan Villar, Baylor's son, honestly, like I could have given or taken that scene. I don't think the kid playing Villar was a very good actor, in my opinion. Like he just didn't
It,
really
it,
sell anything. He just was petulant. Like for like what he said wasn't due to grief. It was just petulance, and I
yeah.
don't know. It didn't like take away from anything necessarily, but it also didn't add anything to the episode.
Well, I think he was fine. I I thought what he said was fine. Well, no, I thought what he said is great because that idea of,
Right.
like you said, plenty of sons have died in their father's armor. How many sons have died? How many fathers have died in their sons? It kind of put
Yeah.
me in mind of Theoden when he was talking. This is where I sort of agree with you, where Theoden's scene, when after Gandalf frees him from Saruman's influence, he's like, no father should have to bury their son,
Right.
or no parents, and it put me in mind of that scene, but one's delivered by
A father. Yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
fantastic actor, and again, like I said, the kid did, I thought he did fine, but I think there should have been a little bit more touch of emotion.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean he would have to cry. We're not Star Trek. You don't always have to cry to show emotion.
I mean, I think
You
what
don't
would have
always
been
have to
nice is like
rage.
him like coming up to Duncan and like beating him on his chest or something, like not
Yeah.
like hard, just like lightly, like why are you still anyway. But then they followed this scene up, this like what was supposed to be a very emotional scene with probably the funniest thing that happened all season. When it reveals Raymond married Rowan, the redheaded prostitute. And
Well, I mean, he got
she's
her with
already
child.
pregnant, and now it's his baby. He's so dumb. He's like, she's pregnant already. That was really fun. It was just that whole back and forth. And like Duncan is like, dude, and
He's like,
she's like,
I'm a little bit.
yeah,
Dunk had that look like, I mean, I know I'm slow,
yeah.
but
I know I'm thick as a castle wall, Dunk the Lunk and all that, but like, come on. And the way Rowan is looking at him, like don't say anything. But while they're having that conversation, Makar calls for Duncan. And this was the other thing that was funny about the scene is these guys, these Targaryen soldiers ride up on horses, and Duncan is just limping. Like he's got one crutch. He's almost dead. If the maester had his way, he would be. And they're like, Prince Makar has called for you. And like then they turn around and start riding off, and he has to hobble after them.
yeah.
Like I just
Also,
found like the gallows humor of that was very funny.
right. And also, he probably should have taken Dunk, I mean, should have taken an example of Lionel, and they'll use the cane he used or the crutch he used, because Dunk just had a stick under his arm, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
It
dude,
was
that can't be comfortable.
no, not at all. It's like, dude, it's gonna poke through your armor there. So he gets to Makar, and he's informed that Arion will spend time in the free cities to atone for what he's done, which we learn that does not really help Arion at all. And then this is where we get into the whole thing about like Baelor would have been a good king, and the realm is going to look at him poorly for killing his brother, and the realm is going to look at Duncan for getting him killed. And I was like, did Duncan get him killed?
Well, that's it. Again, it's
Yeah.
not about the truth. It's about
Right.
like perception. And absolutely, even though, and this is the funny thing about it, because of, what was Baylor's last line in episode 5? Let the gods decide.
Right.
So people, when they're in this trial of 7, it's supposed to be that the gods determine, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And at the same time, they don't necessarily look at it. They look at it like, well, the gods,
Right.
why would the gods pardon him? And so even though, they have this faith and this belief, they're still blaming the guy who, based upon the trial, the gods deem worthy of saving.
Right. Right. And then after that, he invites Duncan to squire, or to knight for Egg, an Egg to be a squire in Summerhall, where he'll finish his training. And Egg is obviously eavesdropping like he's want to do. And he overhears Duncan say he's done with princes, which I thought was like a really, really good scene. And then this is the one thing in the entire series that I wish they had left out is all the rest of the flashbacks were really good, but he has a flashback to asking Sir Arlen why he was never knighted. So we now know he's a false knight. Throughout the whole book, or all three novellas, we are just led to believe he's a false knight. We don't know one way or the other. And I wish they would
Well,
have not done that. I
well,
mean, it's
that's
pretty obvious, but still.
well, it's not necessarily, and the reason I say that is because you don't see Arlen die. You think they have the gag where he stops and he's like, eyes open, not breathing, and then coughs and finishes his story. And again, going back to Cody Rhodes and Duncan, a knight always finishes his story. Which it's again, I just thought of the Cody Rhodes thing, but yes, it looked like he died, but it's still ambiguous enough for us not to know. And that's fine. I know what you're saying, like that we really need that. I think we needed it for what Dunk does and the idea of Penny Tree and saying goodbye to Sir Arlen in the way they did.
Yeah.
They could have made it just a tiny bit. I think for me, it's ambiguous enough, but I think they could have leaned into the ambiguity a little bit more in that scene. So
or even a little longer,
yeah, right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So in that regard, I could see where you're coming from. I'm just saying, to me, I thought it was still ambiguous enough that we still 100% don't know.
Yeah, and you're right with Arlen saying that a true knight always finishes a story. That was like, so there's still, as they say, the saga of Duncan the Tall continues. And then we have, Darren comes to talk to Dunk, and he's like, you need to mentor Egg, to keep him from becoming like Arian. And then there's a great scene where Egg sees his hair starting to regrow.
Oh man. I mean, that was like seeing that scene and watching him kind of stalk into Arian's room with the knife that was, into the fish. Because at first, when the knife disappears from the plate of fish,
right,
you think, okay, he's gonna, go shave his head, go do a Rambo or something like that.
No.
And then you just see, all of the pain, the fear, the anger, the resentment that he shared towards Arian for the things Arian did to him.
Well, remember, Arian was going to cut his balls off and marry him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's what you're a sick fucker. Yeah. Seriously.
And then Maekar comes in and saves Arian's life. And then, and that was a really great scene because it was the first time we've seen any real like empathy from Maekar. And, Maekar is not a great king when he gets his shot. And so there's all of that. But then Dunk asks if Dunk has a change of heart and asks Maekar if Egg can squire for him. And, talking about the good it will do him, about like being amongst the small folk, serving for lesser lords and other knights, and sleeping in inns and maybe on the road, and Maekar is like, my son will never sleep on the road, and refuses. And it's funny because it's like, so like, when it was like Dunk gonna be at Summerhall, like what's Egg really gonna learn from Duncan as a hedge knight trapped in Summerhall, essentially. And I thought this was a fair thing, but so Duncan's like, okay, and he's getting ready to leave, and Raymond buys Sweetfoot back for him, to the point, like, I feel like Dunk should turn around and just sold Sweetfoot again, and gotten the money.
That poor horse.
That poor horse. And it's a gift to her. He gives her to, and everything. And, Dunk makes a stop at a tree, and he works the penny out of the hilt of the sword and places it in the tree. And I thought that was a great, like, just symbolism for, like, I've learned what I can learn from you, Sir Arlen. Now I have to leave you, the penny tree, and go and become Duncan the Tall.
Yeah, and find my own, like, to find the rest of the way on my own.
Right, to finish the story, like Cody Rhodes. And then as he does, Egg shows up, and he's like, my father said I could squire for you. All right, Duncan, you've known this little fucker's a liar since you met him. Let's go ask. Let's ask a few questions of an adult
Yeah.
before we take the lying little bald kid's word.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, you're not going to be any goodbye or anything. You're not going to, say, hey, I promise to keep him safe or to, the father. None of that. And okay, you're just going to leave.
Egg invented the Irish goodbye. So.
Yes, I'm well known for that when I used to go out.
Yeah. So
really
I had the Irish switcheroo. Like I would switch groups and then I would finally do an Irish goodbye at the end of the night. But then Egg's like, let's go to Dawn. They have great puppet shows here. And this will be a theme of Duncan the Tall's life for the rest of his life. Is Egg like traveling around to places where Egg can see different puppet shows?
Yeah, and remember that's where Tansel went too after the whole Aryan debacle.
Yep.
A few episodes ago.
So I don't remember. Does he ever see Tansel the Tall or Tansel too Tall ever again?
That's
I don't
the thing.
think he does.
Don't know.
Because he falls in love with that one lady of, I forget what the holdfast is, but the redheaded one. But yeah, anyway. And then we have an end credit scene. It's great, or a mid credit scene where it starts to play and the maker is like, "Where's my son? Where is Egg?"
It's so funny because I watched I watched a couple of reactions to this, and one of them, these guys called Bad Medicine. They're just three dudes, just dudes like us. They're hilarious.
Ooh, because we're hilarious too. Nice, I like that.
Yeah, but they showed them, and then that scene, they're like, why does he look confused?
Right. So.
and then it's like, well, you know why? After the fact.
So, so it was really interesting. The themes from this episode, like honor versus ambition, the weight of legacy, the tension of noble politics, and then the cost of knighthood.
And also another thing, the nature versus nurture when you talk about the Targaryens, and because going back to Darren, when he's the one that actually convinces Dunk that Egg needs him, where he says, my brother was not always the little monster. And Dunk says, Egg's a good boy. He's like, no, Aryan. Yeah. He used to be a glad little boy. Mm-hmm. He used to love fishing. And it's the idea of, and then going back to her with Maekar and what you said, how much, don't get me wrong. I think if he was at Summerhall, Egg could have learned some stuff from Dunk. However, when you're surrounded by, even if you have that one person in the storm, if you're surrounded by the storm, there's still going to be those influences that he's not going to be, exposed to now on the road with Dunk.
So you're saying he should have gone to Storm's End.
So it's the idea of, okay, and again, it's going back to the what did they say in Game of Thrones? When the Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin.
Yeah. Is it going to be an incestual bastard, or is it going to kill everybody?
Right. So that's another important theme that again, not just for this episode, but for this show as a whole, is Egg who he was born to be, or is he going to be nurtured towards who he can be? Right. And
okay. So looking at the finale, and we can talk about this for the whole, but did you find this finale satisfying, or was it too restrained?
I found it satisfying.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Especially on the second watch, because again, these shows are so short. That's again, saw another funny one where a guy was watching it and it said, "Get up," like that scene in episode 5 and then the end credits. So other than that, but I would still say it's satisfying. And as much as I've talked about how I thought some of these episodes were too short, at the same time, are they really? Because there's maybe one or two instances where I said I wanted something more, right? Even though my general complaint of wanting more is because it's so good.
Well, and that goes into the next thing with wanting more. it had a pretty consistent pace, but it wasn't. It was a slower burn. It wasn't a slow burn, but it was
Hmm.
like, like everything that happened in the 6 episodes was over the span of just a couple days, and
Right.
it feels like the show is much longer than it is from like in universe time. But like I
Yeah.
really liked the pacing of the show because I feel
Yes.
like it let so much breathe, and really kind of like let things like Baylor's death like really be impactful. Um,
Right.
you know, Duncan attacking Arion and then the episode ending, like very impactful, right? Um, the first episode, like, with all of that, like, I feel like, I just feel like I do feel like the slower pace really helped and nothing felt like jet packed at all.
Yeah. It reminds me. So in video games, there's an idea of bloat
Hmm.
where a lot, you have this. Again, I'm an open world game fan. However, if I look at as much as, even though I enjoyed the games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
Right.
um, and those, there's a lot of bloat in those games.
Hmm.
Whereas you would go to a game like the God of War 2018, which is there's no open world.
Right.
It's you go here, you go here, here, here. It's a lot tighter. It's a lot shorter. There's a lot less stuff to do, but it's more impactful. It's more satisfying because of the constraints around it. Again, going back to the idea that some of these people who say they're constrained by the source material
Hmm.
and having to stay within the boundaries of the source material. No, that's when you show your creativity, is when you have to work with constraint and can still pull off something great.
Yeah.
In this regard, as yes, I would have loved, because I'm the guy that likes 3-hour movies if they're great. But
Crazy.
if a movie can be 95 minutes, 100 minutes, 2 hours, and be tight and better than a 2 hour and 30, I want quality more than, even though I like quantity, but sometimes when you add to the quantity of something, you can dilute it. This is exactly where it needed to be from a time standpoint, as you just mentioned, from a pacing standpoint. It didn't need to be like you said. I didn't feel jetpacked. I actually felt at times where something wasn't supposed to, probably I didn't know if it was going to work. It worked even in that constraints of 30 minutes or 33 minutes, and it wasn't too short. It worked just fine. So they did a masterful job of outlining from start to finish episodes 1 through 6.
Yeah.
And that, like, I just can only commend Ira Parker and everyone involved in this. From a writing perspective, we already gave the flowers to the people on the production side,
Hmm.
from costumes, scenery and all that stuff, the cinematography. But the way this show was sketched out and executed is phenomenal.
Correct. All right. We've already talked about the standout performances for the show. I mean, Peter and Dexter are amazing. The production design, you just talked about it, is completely consistent throughout the season. I didn't see a single pair of sunglasses or a single watch on anybody, so I'm happy. And then lastly, like, how do you think this sets up for future seasons? I mean, like, I feel like they did a really good job setting up for, God, what is the next novel called now? I just
Sworn Sword.
Sworn Sword. Yeah. Like, I feel like they did a really good job setting up from that.
Yes. And by that time, I'll have gone back and reread all the novellas,
I
because
mean, it's like an like 10-hour read or listen.
right.
So, all right. So, out of 5, when the when the laughing storm offers you war, you say yes. What do you give this?
4.6 out of 5. Like I said, it's a great ending. And like you just said, it does it leads very clearly and does a good job, even for people who don't know where it goes, knowing that there's more adventures to be had.
Hmm.
I really love the pacing of this episode and this show as a whole. So 4.6 out of 5.
Yeah, I went 4.88 out of 5, and I agree with everything you said. I gave it the higher score because I like that they got back to the epilogue, which they got away from in the last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. And
Hmm.
then I
Right.
don't really feel like they've done a good job of with A House
The
of the
House of the
Dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with
So,
that.
all right, moving on to the season 1 retrospective. Let's just do a quick like 5 minutes on this one. So season 1, like I feel like the thing that we can say first off is it carved its own lane in Westeros. It took the scope of the show and shrunk it much smaller, kind of very like Iron Man 1, Ant-Man kind of thing, focused on just one story of what's happening. We don't really know what's going on in the rest of Westeros. We don't even know what's happening in King's Landing. And we got this like intimacy instead of spectacle.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
agree with that? Do you disagree with
I,
that?
I agree, and I'll liken it to one episode is the Trial of Seven. As you recall when we reviewed that, one of the things I said initially, and on rewatch, I changed my kind of changed my opinion on it. But I initially thought that I wanted more than what we got. I wanted more from other people's perspective. But this is Dunk's story, and like I said, then they did a good enough job showing you what's going on in the background. Yes, you have to rewatch it a couple times to see because the action's happening so fast. But this is ultimately Dunk's story. Everything else is in the periphery. So, in that regard, that's how this season played out too. Well, not just Dunk in that respective, but Dunk and Egg. So, yes, I would agree with that. And I like that, that focused narration that we're not, jumping all over the place to like, even as much as I like, Lionel was only there when he was in scenes with Dunk, with the exception of knighting Raymond. And, we didn't see much of Makor and Baelor together other than when it served it served up Dunk coming in there and speaking with them or whatnot. So in that regard, yes, I agree. I really like the idea of that focus narration and not having all these threads that would take away from the main story.
So I think season strengths, the chemistry between Dunk and Egg, the political was more nuanced. It wasn't like super overwhelming. And then the costuming was amazing.
Oh, geez.
And then it was like really grounded, like take away like the White Walker at the very beginning of the pilot, but it was really grounded like those first 2 episodes in Winterfell.
Right. Yes.
And like it was about the same amount of time that like screen time that those 2 episodes were for the whole 6 episodes of this. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot we can add to what we've already said, except the Kylo Ren beam more. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to whatever you want to add.
No, again going back to quality versus the quantity aspect, I will always choose that combination if possible. If I said, hey, if I want a game or a movie that's short and great versus a movie or game that is long and great, I'm going to take the latter. However, I also understand with experience that they're like going back to the dilution. This show, and I'm assuming, and again, I'm assuming that it's going to be 6 episodes again, possibly
I
8.
hope.
It's
6.
definitely no more than 8, but we've talked about this where there's been a lot of shows that are 10 episodes and you're thinking, 10 episodes or 8 episodes, that's a lot of tight storytelling, and we find that the writers of these shows can't do that.
Right.
So again, if it's going to be 6 episodes, even if they're going to be 30, 35 minutes long, I don't care as long as it's good.
Right.
As long as it keeps the quality that we have, it keeps the creative team that we had for this season. There's no reason for me not to believe it can be just as good. Unless you say unless you say like the source material novella is not as good as The Hedge Knight, okay, that's a legitimate argument. But from what I've seen, I think we're going to get another just a dynamite season 2, and it'll be whenever it's supposed to. I think early projections are 2027.
Right.
Because they still have to do all the post production. But I have faith that it's going to be whatever year it comes out. It's going to be one of my most anticipated shows.
Correct. I agree. All right. Let's do the season 1 ratings, and then I have a special surprise for you after this. So, out of 10, wow, that hedge knight has a huge sword. What do you give this season as a whole?
Yeah, this season as a whole, as they say, taking it as a whole, it's stronger than its individual parts. So when you look at my rating, you look at, I gave it a 4, 4.2 or whatever. A lot of these episodes, this episode or this as a whole is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. It just becomes stronger as you see it, read it for a story instead of individual chapters. Again, going back to the themes and how the themes connect from episodes 1 through 6, it's absolutely going to be on my top 5, not even my top 10. It's absolutely going to be in my top 5 shows at the end of the year. Probably from a ratings perspective, I have a hard time seeing a show outdoing this.
Yeah, maybe my top 3. Who knows? Anyway. All right, I went with a 9.17 out of 10. I agree with everything you said. I do think it was greater than the sum of its parts, even though the individual parts are all very great. The cohesive story that it tells is right there, and it is a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
So, okay. So now, are you ready for your surprise?
Yes.
So, it's question of the week. I found my pod deck with questions for podcasting. So I'm going to ask you one of these every week. So
Okay.
Today's, what would you do if you were invisible for a day?
Invisible for a day. Oh, that's a tough one.
Would you go full Kevin Bacon and Hollow Man?
I wouldn't go that route. I would probably go the route of Rorschach.
Oh, interesting.
In the sense, I would say, hey, drop me off somewhere where there's a lot of bad guys. Give me the required tools, and hopefully they become invisible when I touch them, and I will go ham on all of them.
Interesting. So you would be like, you think I'm in jail with you? You're in here with me.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. I'm here for it. Very good. You go full Rorschach. Just completely fascist. I'm here for it.
Towards the bad guys, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, fascism. It's just fascism. It doesn't matter who it's towards. It's just fascism.
Mine would be vengeance. I am vengeance.
I am the transparency. Get it? Anyway, that's a great question, Darryl. That's a great answer. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna come back with one of these next week too.
Alrighty then.
I've got
also
what
I was about to say before we sign off. Going back to the what's best in life, Conan the Barbarian. I should have done it in Arnold's voice. You might have gotten it then.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I have, by the way, I have 5 picked out for you for the next 5 weeks.
Okay. So. Which also, by the way, that was his first line in the movie, and it took like 20 minutes.
I'm gonna be honest. I have not watched Conan in probably 25 years.
So. I probably haven't watched it in like 7 or 8, and I just got the 4K not too long ago, so I need to watch that.
There you go. If I were invisible for a day, by the way, I would probably just rob a whole bunch of banks.
I mean, there is that.
Yeah, plain and simple.
Were we talking about honor and all that?
I would want my invisibility, though, to be like the Invisible Man TV show without the Quicksilver madness, where I could just cover everything with Quicksilver.
Underrated show.
Dude, Ed is the second best show ever on Sci-Fi.
So underrated.
Behind Farscape, ahead of BSG.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 100%.
That's interesting.
I have it on DVD.
I know him
I watch it like once a year. I need it to come out on digital so I can just put the whole series on my phone because it's only 2 seasons and just watch it all the time. So, but yeah. Darian Fox, great character. Great character. And I can do my hair's too long now, but I was able to do my hair like him for a little bit while my hair was growing out. So he used mousse. That was the secret. All right. On that note, thank you all for listening. Sorry we're late again this week. It was my fault more than Darryl's fault. And we will be back next week. So remember, be infamous. The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Darryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Infamous Podcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.